Hey everyone, Onita here. Welcome to today's video, my January TBR. I did not want to have to be filming this as late as it is. January did not go as planned. I'm a little upset about that, I'm not gonna lie. I already know what is going to be in my best and worst books of the year. I've already started making lists. The first 3 books I'll be talking about are books I have read for Winterween, which is a week-long reading challenge, not reading challenge, like a readathon that happens in the first week of January about reading horror books. The first one I read was Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. It is a book about this couple that have recently got engaged, and to celebrate their engagement they decided to go on a romantic cabin getaway. So Faye and Felix are the 2 couple that have got engaged, right? Soon they hear a bunch of ghastly noises from the nearby woods, as well as this dark, shadowy figure that stalks them and almost kind of whispers to them in their sleep, until Faye starts talking back to the shadowy figure, the dark figure that is stalking them, creeping them out. And it freaks Felix out. It also freaks Faye out as well. This ended up being the best book I read for Winterween. I gave it 4 stars out of 5. I did not find this book scary at all, but it did have some creepy elements. The atmosphere was good. It really kept you turning the pages to know what was going to happen, because the chapters kept leaving on cliffhangers, and it annoyed the crap out of me because I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen? And it kept turning and turning the pages. And I kept thinking to myself that this book would make a really good horror movie, until I edited my January TBR and noticed that I had said that this book was going to be turned into a movie if all goes well. I really enjoyed the characters and thought the relationship between the 2 main characters was actually pretty good. Just the stress that having this entity, the supernatural entity, follow you and make your life a living hell, showing that being portrayed as having a large stress on your relationship, and just seeing and reading about how they worked through their struggles with that, I thought was really good. I really enjoyed that. A cute relationship. It wasn't forced, it felt natural. And actually all the friendships that were formed in this book were quite natural as well. This book does talk about the misrepresentation of Native Americans in this book with like Western media portrayal, and it was something I really enjoyed. It was a little unexpected for me and I actually really enjoyed it. And just the history of Pale Peak, which is where the cabin is when they were going on their romantic getaway. Just the history of Pale Peak and the cabin and how it integrated in with the folklore of Native Americans was really, really good. I actually really enjoyed that. I think that was the saving grace in this book for me, the folklore, the history, like the background of this cabin. Overall, I thought some things were just a little tad predictable, but with it being a bit predictable, I still found myself turning the pages to see what was going to happen, and I felt a little let down by the resolution as well. Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford is the 2nd book that I read for Winterween, and this is where my enjoyment in reading and where this readathon went downhill for me. It is about an otherworldly young woman, Ada, and her father, and their relationship with cures, humans who need help with their sickness or illness. One day Ada meets a man named Samson, and to her father's displeasure they have an affair. It is about Ada being torn between her old life with her father and the new possibilities of being in a relationship with Samson. It just disappointed me, this book. And it was a little underwhelming as well, I hate to say. This book was just a bit too weird for me. It was weird to the point where it was a bit hard to follow, and it really confused me, the book. I would have liked to have had a bit more explanation. Still have it weird, that doesn't bother me, but just have it more explained. I really liked the magical realism aspects of this book, with how Ada and her father were able to treat the cures, or the humans in this village, and to cure them of their sickness. And it does have very gruesome depictions of actually helping these people with their sickness and illness, so if you're a little squeamish, this gets a bit gruesome. I wasn't expecting it to be gruesome because I thought, no way is it the way I am picturing it in my head, and I took my time to read those gruesome depictions, and oh boy, it is. It's out there. It's pretty out there. And she grows a vagina to have sex. Like, this book is really weird. It really is. The love interest, or Samson, the fella that Ada had an affair with, he gave me red flags from the moment he entered the page. From the moment I read about him, or read about how Samson and Ada became this secret couple, I guess you could say. Red flags were going off in my head. But with Ada not necessarily being human, although looking like she is a human, she's a bit naive in that aspect because Samson is not a nice guy. This does deal with pedophilia and predatory behavior in people. I actually like the message it had. Like, when you're naive and you're in a relationship and you hear something bad about a person, you don't want to know anything about it. You think you know someone better than other people that have had more life experience. And not all sickness is physical, and not all sickness can be helped or cured. I thought that was really good, that message. I really did. I had heard people say that the prose was really beautiful. I did not see the prose being beautiful. It was just a bit too weird and confusing for me to really enjoy the beautiful prose. I was thinking, right, I'm thinking I may want to do a bit of a reread on this book. Knowing what I know now about it and the kind of message that it leaves behind, I really want to re-experience that again and see if I actually enjoyed it a bit more this time. Overall, I think I told you this, but I did give this book 2 stars out of 5. The worst book I have read this month. And the book I concluded Winterwein with Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. To me, this book was bad. To me, in my personal opinion, this book was bad. It is about a group of high school kids who decide to play a prank on their best friend or their friends that they know who works in a movie theater. They decide to prank her with this mannequin. This mannequin was meant to like pretend to be an audience member viewing a movie, until the mannequin starts moving of its own free will. You thought this would have been a really damn good creepy book, but no, it was bland, boring, dull, predictable, dragged out, nearly fell asleep. Actually, I think I may have fallen asleep one time. This book could have been more better if it had been longer, like a full-length novel. It would have been so much better for me. I'm actually a little bit disappointed that I started my Stephen Graham Jones horror reading journey with this book. I do think I can enjoy his other books because they are a little more novel length, novel sized, and I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit more fleshed out with the characters, the atmosphere. I do think he could be a really good author, I really do. I have heard so many people say how funny this book is, how gruesome this book is. Where the fuck is it? Am I stupid? Did I not read the same book that everyone else did? This was not a good book to me. It was so predictable. From the moment we knew something about a character, I thought I figured it all out. And I'm going to stop talking about this because I think this book put me in a bit of a reading slump. I could have easily have read 2, maybe even 3 more books afterwards, and I had plans to read 2, 3 more books afterwards. But that didn't happen. I mean, can you tell my emotions and how much I did not like this book at all? We're now getting to my favourite book I have read this month, A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer L. Armentrout, the spin-off series to the From Blood and Ash series. Following the gods, I should point that out. This book follows a woman named Seraphina Myrell. I think it's Myrell, anyway. And she has been chosen to kill the primal of death, to help her country of Lasania, not lasagna, Lasania, with the rot. So this plan was put in place years back with her ancestors, and she has to be the consort to the primal of death, make him fall in love with her, kill him, and in doing that, she will help her country of Lasania with the rot. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. Loved it. There seems to be a lot of Hades and Persephone retellings, doesn't there? This book should have been the first one I read in the month of January. I was so excited to read this book than I was for the other books that I read for Winterwein. And this book, like the first half of the book, took me a little while to get into. It is slower. The first half-ish of the novel, it is a little slower. I think I would have enjoyed it if this had been the first one I read, because I was way more excited to read this book. And I fell into a bit of a reading slump after that Winterwein readathon. Towards the later half of this book was when things started to really ramp up. A lot of the politics and a lot of... You want to say hello? Look who came to visit. A little doggy. Hello? Wanna go down? So yeah, Like, towards the last half of this book, a lot more of the politics came into play about why there's just a lot more at play. I'm just gonna say that. I just felt rushed with reading this book, which is another reason why that it probably took me so long as it did to read it. It took me 2-3 weeks to read this fucking book. I read the other books in the From Blood and Ash series within like under a week. Like, this book is still addictive, and it started off with a bit of a plot twist that I did not see coming. When it first opens up the pages of this book, it really grabs you and holds your attention. Just the writing just felt much different and felt better than in the other books. You don't want to go out, do you? Come here. Is it okay you can stay here? So yeah, it just felt more addictive. It was just like, it really holds your attention. And the writing felt better. Not that the writing was bad in the From Blood and Ash series. I actually really enjoyed the writing in that one. But I feel like if you had some issues with the third one, I think you could really, really, really love this one. Jennifer L. Armentrout, this author, is really good at writing characters and their relationships with one another. Some of the characters were damn near brutal with each other with how they talked. There were like some damn savage moments. I'm like, oh shit, damn. Talk about savage there, my friend. It does tie into the From Blood and Ash series, and it does expand on that. You do have to read this book if you want to read The War of the Two Queens, which is the 4th book in the From Blood and Ash series, because it kind of says some little things, or it tells you important information that you will need to know for that 4th book. Sarah and Nyktos' relationship broke me. It was so good. This is slow burn. Just be warned, it is a bit of a slow burn romance, but it broke me. Just with what was happening, how it all came. Oh god, no, I'm not going to say it. I really want to do a spoilery talk, but I don't want to because I don't want to spoil it for any of you. It was good. It was really good. I did have some theories about this book. I did have some predictions that came true. Not that this book is predictable or anything, it's just, it was predictable to the point where you really enjoyed seeing the build-up and seeing your theory and predictions come true. It wasn't like when you read about the prediction that you had come true, that it was like, yeah, we know. It was like, oh my god, yes! Some things were a little bit more obvious to me than they were. Like, some things just hit me in the face a little bit more than they did with Sarah at the time. And this book, oh my god, in the typical Jennifer L. Armentrout style, you will end up with a bit of a cliffhanger. But I don't know if this is going to be a duology, the spin-off series, or if it actually is going to be a series or even a trilogy, but damn, that cliffhanger. I need the next book like yesterday. Overall, I gave this book 5 stars out of 5. It was truly one of the best books I have read in the month of January. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know, what books did you read in the month of January? I would love to know. Did you enjoy the books that you have read, or have you read any of these books that I have read, and if so, have you enjoyed them? Was it a good month for you? Was it a bad month? Make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!